You went like total, like Hallmark sort of what I lack in height, I make up in heart.
It's
Like, are
actually
you gonna like, what is that?
it's my OkCupid bio.
Is it really?
No.
Dee.
Wait, let's start. I'm excited. All right.
Okay, yeah.
All right. You're ready. I'm ready.
We're ready.
Just gonna do a little intro. We'll see that.
Am I supposed to do
No.
anything for the intro?
Nah,
Okay.
you're good. Hello and welcome to the first ever episode number 3 of the Fun Shoe Podcast. I am Jong Clemente, and I am here with probably one of the most interesting, gorgeous, unique, multi-talented people that I know.
Keep going. Keep going.
Whiskey Clemente, my cat. No, I'm kidding. Right here in front of me in the El Jong apartment studios in 10 Ocean Parkway, I have the wonderful Melody Jane. Sound effects, sound effects. Sound effects. Melody, thank you very much for gracing us with your presence.
Thank you for having me. This is rad.
Will I be calling you Melody Jane, Melody, or Jane? MJ?
You
Jane
know-
Clemente? Or how do I call you?
My friends call me MJ,
MJ.
but you can call me Melody
Melody.
or Ms. Jane.
Ms. Jane. I'll go with
Ms. Jane is hot.
Miss Jane. Miss Jane. You have a very extensive repertoire of talents. So I'm just gonna read real quick your bio and your website. I'm gonna stop in
Shit,
parts,
that's old. Go for it.
and then we're gonna discuss
Let's do it.
how come you have so many talents. How do you maintain all or most of them? And my last question is, can I have some?
It's ADHD. It's running around going, squirrel.
Squirrel! So, Melody Jane is an actress, singer, dancer, and neo-burlesque artist based in New York City. So,
Ooh, and I'm adding on writer and director onto that.
fuck
so
that shit.
Fucking tapping
Look
it.
at
Yeah,
that.
work it
Writer
out.
and director. And we're going to discuss all that in the course of this, hopefully very entertaining podcast. Gun to your head. If you need to keep one of these talents, what are you going to keep?
Ooh, it's funny. I just did this.
Ooh.
Because it's really hard. But if I were somehow incapacitated and I could only do one thing, it would be to sing.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they say singing is the window to the soul.
Exactly. Which is really funny because in the last 2 years, I have actually become more and more like I have stage fright. Actually, I've never had it before in my life, and in the last 2 years, I definitely have it. It's crazy, right? I know your face.
It's like, you might, yeah. You have stage fright, but you're on all the stages all over the world. But
I know it's a pressure.
okay, we'll discuss
Something.
more.
Yeah.
Continuing on in the bio,
Let's go.
she is known for blurring the boundaries between performance art, musical theater, and burlesque. Is this something that you worked on? Is this something that came natural? Is this something that you said, this is a hole in the industry that I've been doing? I might go after that. How did this come out to be?
This was getting on stage and fucking about. And can I curse?
Of course.
Okay. Wait.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah, we can curse.
So yeah, getting on stage, fucking about, and then having producers put forth concepts, and then really being sort of stoked and driven by those concepts, and then creating things around them, and then being like, oh, I could add this thing in, or what about this thing, and then just sort of like stacked and grew pretty organically. Like nothing really has been thought through. In terms of like, this is my brand. Like, I really wish I would have done that because there's a lot of people who have solid brands and they look amazing, like El Jong, Jong-o, Clemente, look at you with all your, but I really, yeah, it's just been a very natural evolution. I'm trying to be a little bit more thoughtful. In this new year, I'm starting to sort of shift the way that I approach my art. Yeah.
Awesome. I mean, I figured like most people, ideas, the best and worst ideas are come unprepared.
Mm-hmm.
I think, but that's very interesting because I'm sure we're gonna discuss it a little bit further in the podcast or in this particular episode. Is you have some weird, unique, controversial acts that I've heard of, and I wish I was there to see. But we did.
Are you talking about cutting my heart?
100%, 100%.
Everybody's talking about this.
I'm going to save that a little bit on the middle. In the middle, because that is one of those things where good segue to more description about this podcast, because I know this is only episode 3 and there might not be a specific brand yet, but what we want to do in this particular podcast is talk to people, image makers, light shapers, artists, friends, lovers, family, about artistry and entertainment. A lot of pods do that, a lot of shows do that, plenty of books and blogs. But I feel that the thing missing is the process of it, the preparation, and how to become good at whatever you want to do. Or good might be happy with it, or good just might be good. Either way, it's still great. So I want to dive into your most favorite.
Where's your next guest for that? Because I don't know.
We have plenty.
Good art.
Again, art is subjective. Some people seem to like the stuff that I post. Mostly,
I'm being a little self-deprecating, but it's okay.
Oh my god. All right. So, little housekeeping. You can listen to this podcast most Wednesday mornings, Eastern Standard Time, on all your favorite podcast apps and outlets. Visit the Fun Shoot podcast at www.jongclemente.com/funshoot or bit.ly/funshoot for short, so you can both hear and see the people that we're talking to. Follow the pod on Twitter and Instagram at Funshoot Podcast. Send us your comments and questions at funshootpodcast@gmail.com. And if you want to be part of the show, interact with the guest, have follow-up questions, have ideas for topics for us to talk about, you can leave us a voicemail. Leave us a voicemail.
I will solve all of your problems.
Yes, at 347-934-9594. So we're in the part of the program where we're setting the backdrop. We're in a shoot. We're unfiltered, straight out of the camera. We're moving some furniture around, setting up some lights, opening up some LaCroix.
Did you like that I did that for you right in the spot?
Yeah. So before we dive into your artistry and your performance, what is the day and what's the night job? How does it work together? How do you balance it, and why do you do each?
Very carefully. So I don't actually have a day and a night job.
Nice.
I mean, I don't know. That just means that I'm poor. I don't know. But no, I'm very, very lucky and fortunate at this point in time. It probably won't always be like this. I definitely started with a day job, but right now, I guess you could call my day job, which I put that in air quotes in case anybody wanted to see that, know that. I'm a yoga teacher, so I teach yoga 6 days a week, 7 a.m. Monday through Thursday, and then, you know what I mean? And then I teach at night as well, which is why I don't call it a day job. So I have these like chunks in the day that are free, which is how I create art. And then, and the rest of my days and such are, I'm not performing as much at night because I am teaching early in the morning, but it's been a lot of writing. It's been a lot of writing. It's been a lot of sort of figuring out where I am right now, and then auditioning. Because my primary goal, sort of in this phase of my career, is really to start working with other people on their projects.
Awesome. So, listing it down again: singer, dancer, actor, performance artist, yoga teacher, meditation teacher.
Hire me.
You have a lot of skills. This is a lot of skills, and sometimes
I'm
that's
also
good.
funny, and I kind of host shows every now and again. So
MC, dog walker,
LaCroix
LaCroix enthusiast. Yes, but that's a lot, and that's great, and it's always refreshing to always have that counterpoint to other people that are stuck in their day jobs like myself. I work 40 to 60 hours most weeks on a desk in front of a computer, and I'm gassed out at night. I can't do as much art as I would want to, and then hearing you have the super morning and some little bit of evening, but in the end, you have that writing. And tell us a little bit more of your writing. What are you writing? What are you going to use it for? You are an author. What have you write? Plug it.
Okay, so right now I'm working on Jane Says, which is a show that I built originally as a burlesque show, and that started back in 2014. And now I'm actually creating it into a one-woman. So it's a series of monologues interrupted by songs, and then I'm going to actually have some guests come along. So it's not technically a one-woman. So there's that, and then I just recently started writing a film.
Whoa.
What? I know, that's bizarre.
Screenplay
Fucking
writer.
Yeah, it's kind of bizarre, kind of awesome. I'm really interested in creating and telling stories that put women as the primary characters, and not just women, but women sort of an older age, if you will say, whatever. So like my main character is actually based off of my grandmother.
Nice.
And she's 70. So
Wow.
yeah.
So
and it's a rom-com. So it's funny, and it opens with a fart joke. So you want to watch it.
So, all right. So, let's start with the screenplay first. You're writing your screenplay. Do you have like an image in mind? Who is the protagonist star that would be running the show for you or with you? Should this be picked up by, let's say, Amazon Studios, Netflix, NBC, CBS? Amazon Studios.
An unknown. I want an unknown funny lady. Yeah.
Cool.
I'm really interested in seeing people who, and I work with a lot of them. I do this thing called the Actors Green Room. Plugging that. You're welcome. But yeah, I've been working with a community, and it's really beautiful to see women chase their dreams after the age of 30, after the age of 40, after the age of 50. And for me, that's really, it's just exciting. It's beautiful. It's something I want to be a part of. So my dream for that would be to connect with somebody on a very real human level and be like, I want you in my film.
That's
you know what I mean? I don't need fucking somebody who has an Oscar. They have an Oscar. They're good. Cool.
Awesome.
Also, probably low budget. So
No, that's immediately interesting to me. Not to be biased, because you're here in my couch talking.
I'm not in your couch. I'm kind of on the
on
couch.
your couch.
I can get in it if you want me to.
You're on my couch talking on my podcast, but I'm not biased too, because more and more I'm seeing that there used to be second and third careers for most people. They work for a long time in the coal mines, and then they have the white picket fence, 1.5 kids and the dog and whatever, and then they can do something else.
Who's the half kid?
Yeah, sometimes, it's on average, not
Okay.
people, 1.5. But now I think, socio-politically and economically, it's becoming harder and harder for people to pursue said dreams, because, I think I read something last week that in the next decade will probably be the first group of people that might not have retirement or pension, which is scary.
Yeah.
Because we're working really, really hard, and then, once our bodies fail us, nothing or no one might not be able to take care of us the way that we should be taken care of, the way that we took care of other people.
Yeah, totally.
Very interesting on the screenplay part. And on the other one, is that going to be a stage play, a Broadway?
No,
the one woman?
I'll take it anywhere. But but the goal is, I actually just applied for Lady Fest, which is just a festival, and then hopefully I can maybe apply for some fringe festivals and travel around with it, kind of keep it as my little back pocket
100%.
show. And it involves a journey. It's my personal story, and it's about finding love, self-love, identifying with sexuality, and obviously incorporates some burlesque. And yeah, I just love to continue working in that realm where I'm including all of the modes. So it's starting with I don't know if you've ever seen my act, The Birth of a Universe, where I'm a giant vagina puppet and I masturbate while singing opera.
I'm definitely going to be imagining that in my brain.
Yeah, I mean it's quite large. I mean the vagina, the labia covers my entire face. It's pretty great. Yeah, Miss Tickle made it.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a really great collaboration that we had, and yeah, and so starting from there, and then just like moving through the origin of the world and femininity and sexuality, and then what it means to be a woman, and seek love and seek validation, and then finding that in various ways.
Awesome. We'll definitely be looking forward to the projects that you're making. But
Thanks.
a little bit of education to the audience that might be varied, because I am going to target this mostly for people that are in the photography field and fringe of it.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea how you guys do the pitching. In a couple of minutes, how do you sell your shows? How do you pitch your ideas? Like, how do you pitch your stage play to somebody? How do you pitch your screenplay to somebody? Do you send out emails? Do you go on boards? Do you stalk people's houses? Tell us a
I
little
should
bit about
probably start stalking people's houses. It's probably like where I'm failing. Okay, so for me, it's actually been just talking to people and meeting people, and then I do have a proposal, and I have a press kit and all the stuff that I've had, pull clips, things like that. Again, I'm sort of shifting my focus away from booking. If I book in nightlife, that's very much like show up, see your face, everybody gets to know everybody, and then you just pass around the same $20 to each other. Which, I mean, you kind of do that in theater as well, at least like downtown theater. But yeah, and then in terms of the fringe, again, very similar stuff. You apply to festivals, you do your work for the work's sake, and talk to everybody about it, hope somebody likes it, and then you hope that people buy tickets.
Awesome.
I know. It's a lot of hoping.
Yeah, but again, that's those are the things that different people might not know about. Yeah, you guys work so hard in a different sense. Like, it's boots to the ground, talking to people, meeting producers, networking, something that, personally, I would probably be horrible at. But I can fix anybody's calendars. I can fix a year-long calendar for everyone. if
Awesome.
If that's something that you don't want to do, yeah, calendar management. But that's awesome. All right, so we know a little bit about your projects. So the next segment is called the Inspiration Corner. All right. So let's take a little bit, let's take a minute to discuss the process of your creating. All right. You have a lot of projects. What inspires you? If like, just tell me the brand of coffee that spurs the idea. The
brand of matcha. I don't drink coffee.
Oh.
I know. Who am I? What kind of New Yorker am I? Let's just really. So I thought about this, and as I got your questions, I was like, God, what inspires me? And I started looking outside for things, and I was like, well, there's this actress and this writer and blah. And then I was like, wait, I just left earlier today coffee with this woman I met who's also a creator, and she's a actress and a writer, and she's just a beautiful human being. And then I got on the train and ran into another performer who I hadn't seen in 12 years. And I was like, the people that I meet and the other creators around me are what charges me and what gives me inspiration. It's this this utter belief that we are in a giant network of creative force that's evolving through the universe, and we're all just kind of filtering it forward. And that to me is like inspiration. I also draw inspiration from my dreams, from my yoga practice, from meditation. It's very much it's stuff just like this whole thing with the screenplay was a conversation with my grandmother. My grandfather passed away 2.5 years ago now, and she's started dating.
Oh,
and it's the best thing ever. She started dating this guy that she actually came over on the boat with back in the 50s.
Oh, whoa.
I know.
I thought it was grandma went on a cruise, picked the homie up. No, back in the 50s.
She immigrated back in, I don't know the year, but it's the early 50s, right after World War II. And and this was like a family friend. And then, and then she went off and got married and had her whole life. And now she's, with my grandfather dead, she's been sort of alone. And this guy showed up and and they're friends, and then it became an actual love interest thing, and I was like, yes, oh my,
Tell me
get
that
it.
they reconnected on Facebook. Come on, tell me.
No,
In real IRL?
IRL.
Damn it, I
in
don't-
real life. Yeah.
Not good IRL.
Everybody's good IRL.
But you know, I mean, there has been a lot of memes and jokes and anecdotes about older people being more active in both the platonic and sexual and relationship aspects because they're old. They've lived their life. They're a lot more honest, a lot more straightforward with the things that they do. Plus, they kind of, you know, they know that hurting or wronging people is not the way to go. So
Yeah.
they tend to be just like, hey, 1B, I'm on 1C. Let's
Let's hang out.
let's hang out at bingo later.
Yeah, but that's so rad. I mean, because, you know, sexuality, like, contrary to popular belief, does not die at the age of 40, 50, 60.
Never dies.
I hope that I'm 75 and fucking. You know what I mean? Like good, too. Like, some quality, like, dry pussy doesn't run its fine. Like, I hope that, you know, it's just this beautiful expression of energy. And that's what we are. You know, it's all energy, and it's this creative energy that happens to be, you know, have this like sexual base.
I mean, it's true. I mean, but also, I mean, you don't have to be like penetrating to be extremely sensual or sexual.
No, not at
There's
all.
so many things that you could be doing. I always tell this on the other podcast that I co-produce and engineer for, Parade of Dicks, is sex starts.
Yeah.
Sex starts when you start planning your date. When you text your partner good morning or good night, or pull their chair from the bar so that they can sit properly, the way that you order for them properly, give them their, you know, their due highs and hellos, and then maybe a little, you know, flirtation during the day. That's where sex starts. The bed stuff is part of it. It's not just the bed part. It's not just the cuddling part. It's everything that you're doing, interacting with your future partner is
It's the
part
connection, the support. It's the feeling of being loved, you know, and wanted, and you're totally right. Like, I don't even know. I haven't really asked, you know, the details of it. I do know that she asked for a silk nightgown for Christmas, which I was like, what? Okay. And I mean, I know he's stayed over or whatever, which she probably would be mortified that she knew his stuff. But you know, it's one of those things where he takes her out for dinner every Friday, and then actually every other Friday, because she cooks the opposite Friday for
So they're
him.
together every Friday.
Yeah, and it's like, and he took her to see Andrea Botticelli, which, you know, she like loves going to see musicians. There's just
Fucking
things that's
Grandpa's
like,
baller. Yo.
he's not grandpa, you know, whatever.
Botticelli,
Yeah, no,
what's
but it's just
up?
one of those things. It's like, so, like, and she has a lot of health problems, and frankly, I really think that had this man not come along, she'd probably not be with us, you know, because this it's the raison de vivre, you know, it's this like meaning for life.
Yep.
And life is connection, and it's just beautiful.
No, it's something to look forward to
Yeah.
every week. I mean, every
Also-
weekend, every Friday. There's
Yeah.
something that, you know, she knows that she's going to see somebody that she likes.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's more than enough to keep you going. And that's amazing. You know, props to Grandma. So,
Hit up inspiration. There you go. Hit up grandma.
Grandma, you know, there's inspiration everywhere. So that's your inspiration. You have a lot of inspiration, you know, co-creators like you, being around them, enjoying their light with your light, or co-mingling. But who do you emulate? Do you... Because inspiration is one thing, and something that a lot of artists do not want to discuss is like who they steal ideas from. But again, it's just, you know, a sliver away from inspiration. So who was the people who's like, all right, I'm going to start from here, and then I'm going to work my way up, down, left, or right?
I did not have this thought process.
Wow.
I know. I really, and here's the deal. I wish I had.
Would have been more efficient at some
Would have been
point.
more efficient.
Oh.
Probably wouldn't be where I am right now.
Interesting.
Yeah, I have never thought of that. I mean, when I was younger, like when I was in high school, I was like 15, 16, wanted to be like Gwen Stefani, also simultaneously wanted to be Meryl Streep, and simultaneously wanted to be Mariah Carey. So that's kind of like
I mean, the combination of the three is pretty dope.
Pretty fucked up. It's great. I mean, but now when I think about it, like, the only person that I can say I've borrowed an actual idea from was Marina Abramovic. And that's for the piece. But that was simply because that was a prompt. I was given a prompt to create something around one of her pieces. So I did nick some aspects of performance art from that, and I will openly say that. That's pretty much it, though. I mean, there are women that I love. Like, I just watched the Amy Schumer
special,
Grown special. That's fucking great. You know what I mean? There are people that, like, I find ever inspiring, like Audra McDonald. I'll never have her career, but I love her. You know, and just everything that she does, way that she is able to capture character. Yeah, I mean, I could aim high, I could aim low, but I guess the people I hope to emulate, it's just my best self. Like, my best self. That's who I want to be.
You got it. That is that's the meme GIF answer, but it's so true.
I know it sounds corny, but like,
it's true though. I mean, that's the thing. And I mean, from I have a lot of performer friends, as you know. I have a lot of artist friends, as you know. And you've been one of the most unique, and that's probably why, because it's really hard to pinpoint your brand. It's so varied and it's so diverse.
Being a Gemini and having ADHD, flying around.
I really need to know more about horoscopes for these types of discussions, but that's great. So, I love Grandma.
I can school you, by the way. I know everything. I don't know everything, but I'm a tarot card reader, and I tend to lean towards the spiritual mystic side of yoga.
Oh,
so yeah.
I forced some of my friends, because some of my friends forced me to do this co-star thing, the app.
Oh my god, it's so great.
Right?
I found you on it, by the way.
Oh, there you go. So I'm going to see if our rising...
Hold on, we should do it right now.
It's okay.
Let's do it right now. Have it right now. This is...
Okay.
Also, we're doing this on a new moon, which I think is really fun.
Today is a new moon?
Today is a new moon.
Look
it's a new moon in Aries.
All right, so I'm going to put a new segment in this podcast saying, let's co-star.
Let's co-star. I know, right? People are like, what is happening?
We're going to edit this out. I'm going to have like some
Probably.
good...
That's a good idea.
Jeopardy
you're
music.
A Scorpio, Sagittarius, Gemini. Look at us.
Wait, how did you find me so fast?
Because you're already on my thing. So we get along in terms of moods, emotions, philosophies of life, sense of responsibility. However, our basic identities, intellect and communication, and love and pleasure are a little bit like, and then
intellect,
sex and
probably
aggression.
Because you're too smart. Love and pleasure is probably because you'll eat me alive in bed.
Yes.
It's not even like, oh no, it's like, yeah.
Well, the thing with that is, I mean, I'm an Aries and you're a Virgo, which means you're going to try and get it right, and I'm going to be like, let's do it.
Well, I can. What if I get it right though?
Yeah, it's that's why it's like it's not really a sad face.
Okay.
It's but sex and aggression is totally, that's the thing where we're not good at that.
Damn it.
Yeah, love and pleasure is more like how you create. It's more of a like it's the Venus. It's yeah. Should I be talking about all this?
Oh, you know what? We can talk about it's my fucking podcast. We'll talk about whatever you want.
But yeah, it's the way in which you create, and it's how you enjoy beauty in the world.
Dope.
Yeah, I know, right? And
I'd
that's
still trade it for sex and pleasure too, but we'll work on that. I'm a hard worker.
Clearly, you've got so much fucking Virgo in your chart, because actually your Mars is also in Virgo. Mine is in Gemini.
That you're a true Gemini, I guess, right?
You know what? I just have so much shit where I'm like constantly bouncing around. I'm not a true Gemini, because I have my rising is Scorpio, which, by the way, I'm so totally open about my chart. Some people are like a little bit high, like,
really?
Well, because it says so much about you. Like,
really?
oh yeah, somebody can give me their chart, and I'm like, oh. Like, I feel like I know you,
okay.
Which maybe I'm an asshole for that, but whatever. I dig it. I feel like I get a nice general, like, portrait of the person.
I used to not be a big fan of horoscopes because like
Mm-hmm.
horoscopes is something that every single person that buys that paper will read, and there's a bajillion Scorpios like me. But I only recently turned because my friend, shout out Toy Vano, she is one of the smartest, most creative, most just even cool people that I know.
Hook me up a toy.
Oh yeah, she is great, amazing taste in music,
Yeah.
amazing parties, and she was like, "Yo, you're gonna do this," but like, come on, Toy, you're smart. There's like, if you're a Scorpio, there's like 5 million Scorpio. No, but there's like the rising and crescent. And
That's the thing, is there's so many aspects. It's like
There you go.
there's the whole portrait of the sky at the moment you were born. Like so
Wow.
it's like, and even then, like somebody who was born at the exact same time as you, somewhere else will have a different chart. So it's just a picture of the sky when you're born.
100%.
And it's like how those energies are affecting the earth as you're coming into being, because we're all just energy.
Mhm.
So it's like, just flying around.
the only thing there is make sure you know where you're when you're actually born.
Yeah, when, like down to the minute,
Yeah.
and also where.
Actually, a lot of people don't. Because like, I
No, they
remember we were at a New Year's Eve party when we did all this, and half of the people were like, "Oh, well, I don't know. I know the date." It was like,
Yeah.
Luckily for me, is because like I apply for a lot of things, and I'm an immigrant as well. So I have my birth certificate. My birth certificate has the exact time I was born. Yada yada. So I kind of remember like, so and so and so. I'm not gonna say my birthday, but it's like 8:15 a.m. So like, okay, cool. All right. Well, okay. Co-star, everybody, download it. Add myself Jong EL_Jong and Melody Jane somewhere there. And
Yeah, you
let's compare charts.
Dude, we should get funding for that.
Oh,
Let's get a kickback.
I'm gonna say,
Co-star. Be like, yo,
Yeah.
so by the way.
this episode was brought to you by Co-Star. Ever wonder why your partner sucks so bad? Want to know how to abate that?
Oh my
Download
god!
Co-Star.
Actually, you want to know what one of my new goals is? Is to actually start doing voiceover
Ooh.
and commercial acting. Some things like when I was in conservatory, like years and years ago, I remember specifically being told like, "Oh, you don't want to be a commercial actor. Those aren't real actors." Blah blah blah, and all this. It was kind of this like turn up your nose thing at it. I mean, now everybody's just like chomping at the bit because it's like a way to make money. But at the same time, I have forever, like, I need to throw this out into the universe in case anybody is listening. I have always wanted to sell feminine products.
Dope.
So my like dream job is to be like the face of the Diva Cup. Like
The Diva Cup.
Yeah,
I was
fucking
expecting
joke.
it's like, I want to be Kotex. I want to be Whisper with wings.
No.
or-
I like. However, I do like always with wings. Like like that's like a thing that
What would be a good Diva Cup?
I don't know. I should find out their like slogan and like start sending it to like spam them incessantly.
I'll catch it all and keep it for a bit.
Yeah. Catch it all and throw it away.
I'll catch it all.
Oh my god, that's it.
We're
We're gonna figure it out.
I'm gonna have to email Co-Star
Yeah.
Diva Cup for some spots or some promo codes for the
Promo codes for the Diva Cup. I mean, but really, wouldn't that be so rad? Or like any alternative feminine products? Like I also loved watching the Noxzema commercials. Do you remember those from like the 90s?
No. No.
How could you forget these? Well, anyway, they're just super fun, and they're like women who look like they're like uber thin models that are like definitely have makeup all over their face, but they're like washing their face, and they look like they're having the most fun of their like the most fun they've ever had in their life. And I'm just like, I kind of want to do that.
Dope.
Like it would be really really rad. Anyway, so that's
future.
pile-
I'm gonna
pile
put
that
that
on.
on. So like
Yeah.
actress, singer, dancer, burlesque performer, yoga teacher, meditation teacher, future face of the Diva Cup.
Yeah, future face of the Diva Cup.
That's not gonna fit in your Twitter bio, so we need to cut that down a little bit.
We can trim it. It's
All right, we're gonna head to the money shot, the last segment of this podcast. So what I usually do is I ask my guests, my esteemed special people, to bring and show me their favorite image. So again, it's just a favorite image. I tend to be silent. I didn't give a lot of direction on what type or from whom. But now, Ms. Jane is pulling up her IG, and I'm going to have this up on the website, bit.ly/funshoot and jongclemente.com/funshoot. I'm going to have it there. I'm going to have it as the album cover of this episode, and we're going to discuss. So,
What's the album cover? Maybe I might change.
What?
I can't.
Okay, so show it.
So it's this.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to give a quick description for our audio listeners, and you're just going to explain it because you're going to probably explain it way better than me. So it's a photo by Mark X Hopkins. It's with Noah Diamond. So there is a man in a suit with a feather boa, with a prominent mustache and eyebrows, and a fake, probably a fake cigar. Left side of the frame, and on the right side of the frame is Ms. Melody Jane, with a feathery robe, silky, red hair, little tiara. And it was taken at the Connolly Theater. So, Ms. Jane, take it away.
Okay, so I looked through all of the images, and I was like, oh, that one's great. And I mean, honestly, I'm not a huge fan of photos of me, but I love the process, and they always sort of bring up memories where I'm like, oh, that was fun doing XYZ with so and so, like, you know, just the shoot that we had earlier. And then I was like, but I would never call these, I don't know, a great shot for me, because I'm looking at them sort of outside of myself. So then I don't know, this one here, this is more of a meaningful shot for me, because it was the shot that was in the New York Times, and it was also in Broadway World, and this was it's a show that I did back. Gosh, I started with a reading of it, and then we did a Fringe Festival production of it, and then we did an off-Broadway show. But it's a show called I'll Say She Is. And it was just this. I stopped performing for I moved to New York City to become an actor in 2003.
From
El Paso, Texas. Cool. And very shortly after my conservatory program, I just stopped acting because I totally was like, oh, I'm not good enough to do this. This business is fucked. Like, I'm not really. I just kept making excuses for why I didn't want to actually do the thing I wanted to do. And took 10 years off. And then started performing again via the burlesque world. Oh. And then about 2 years in, I was like, I'm just going to try auditioning again. I'm just going to do this thing. And I was like, maybe I'll get a chorus girl thing. And then I got this role. And I was like, fuck, I don't even know that I can sing or act or dance or do any of the things that they might want me to do. Anyway, and it just kind of became this beautiful project that ignited my soul in a lot of ways. It's a Marx Brothers musical. It's actually a revisal of their first ever musical, which was done in 1924. And so it was really cool for me to play that part. And then it was just it was a thing that sort of talk about inspiration, where I felt a deep connection to myself and to the spirit muses around me. And I was like, awesome. So I don't know, so that photo means all of that. That's so awesome. Again, I'm not sure that is it the best photo? Probably not.
It's your favorite image.
And it's
it's very memorable. It's an achievement because you are in a very prestigious sect of your craft. Not a lot of people get to perform on stage on a real play with real actors and actresses, and that's amazing. And I'm very happy to share that with our other people. We thank you for sharing your story. But this is the surprise part of that segment of the money shot segment. You showed me your favorite photo of you. Now I'm showing you my favorite photos of you.
Yay!
You're going to tell me a little bit about it.
Okay.
I'm not going to describe it because I'm going to share it again on the website.
Okay.
Most of these I don't know the credits for, so you're going to have to tell that as well.
Oh, I hope I know.
But technically, I should be just doing one of these per guest. But when I went through your website and I went through your profile photos on Facebook, when I basically stalked your social media presence, I had to narrow it down to 3. So I'm going to start with this first image. So tell the people what it is.
That was okay. That is shot by Ben Trivett, and this was actually, my first ever photo shoot.
Huh? What?
Like professionally wise. That's outside of like headshots and that bullshit. This was an amazing fucking time. This was in my house in Clinton Hill, like just my apartment in my bathtub. And I love this photo. It was actually up there as one of my favorites because I don't even recognize myself.
Huh.
Like when I look at that, I'm like, who is that person? But she's hot. It's a great photo, and 100%. We had so much fun. Like, we were drinking beer, we had a bubble bath. Actually, another performer, Dandy Dillinger, was over, and we were just having a good time. So it's a really great shot.
Yeah, so I mean,
so much fun.
I love this shot because now that you mentioned the bubble bath, so it's a top view of the tub with Ms. Jane in it. I initially thought it was milk.
It's Ben worked hard on strategically placing those bubbles.
Okay, so it's not milk, it's just a bubble bath. So it's really good. Really red lips is the thing that I noticed. Really red nail polish, which is a good touch. Like,
and also you can see my scar, which was just brand new.
That was what I was gonna say, because one, great pose because toes pointed, and you could really see that controversial heart we're gonna talk about shortly. So this is slightly post you doing the heart.
Yeah, I did that piece twice.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and actually, I mean, I'd love to make it a duration piece, which I mean, I'm contemplating. I'm actually competing in the Miss Coney Island pageant this year, and I was thinking about doing like sort of a retrospective, if you will. Not that I've been around that long to have a retrospective, but I think it's hilarious that I would do that. And including that piece, or at least a portion of it there. Or I have another friend that I've sort of pitched to galleries doing something like in duration, doing it, every half hour for 13 hours.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we'll show that on the website, and you guys can comment and enjoy that art that was done by Ms. Melody Jane and the wonderful Ben Trivett. Image number 2.
Image 2, go. James Andrew Ridley. This is a promo shot, also one of my first shoots, of my act called Under Pressure, which is sort of an act where I explore my gender identity. I very much, I don't go by they because I feel like I represent she, but I definitely have both sides. Like, we talk about being a Gemini, I'm very I'm here in combat boots and a beanie and love my butch side very, very much, but then also I'm very hyper feminine in a lot of ways. So this image captures that, and it's got it's a black and white, and it was actually inspired by Freddie Mercury. Yeah, a bit of Queen fan.
So
all my life.
This black and white shot, and what do you call this? To say open breasted.
It's
deep V.
It's a deep V onesie.
Very deep V onesie. Here's the
Freddie
thing.
Mercury onesie.
When you mentioned that you didn't recognize yourself with a bathtub shot, I didn't recognize that this was you. I looked at it, it's like, is this kind of like a Google download of a funny kind of thing from way long ago? But the thing that I noticed the most is the bulge, and that's where you come in, where you mentioned the duality of your sexuality.
Cock piece on in there.
So see that again on the website. Right. Last image, and this is something that I think this is a discussion, or the segment where we can trail off by also discussing your controversial piece. This is an image of...
again, shot by Ben Trivett. Thank you, Ben Trivett. So it's me. That's actually fake. That is fake.
What?
It's fake blood.
God damn it.
I know. Actually, if you want to see the originals, I do have video, and I have some really cool images of the actual act.
I was gonna say, if this was the original thing shot by Ben Trivett at the actual act, I'm like, fucking lighting is dope.
Exactly. No, that was done in a studio. And that, but yeah, it was sort of to capture. I mean, it's interesting that you call it controversial, because really, I just don't conceptualize it as that.
Mm-hmm.
And even when I was making it, I didn't think of like, oh, this is going to be a thing. That, you know, I was just like, oh, this is happening.
Well, describe to the people too, like in your own words, what is the actual act?
So the act is called Explosions, and it's a exploration of stripping. It's 3 parts. So I do a classic style burlesque strip behind a plastic scrim to Harlem Nocturne. The entire score is music that I've mixed myself. So it's a couple, like 3 different songs that are very meaningful to me. One being, I guess, I don't know if you want to know all this, but Harlem Nocturne. The other is I Need You to Turn To by Elton John, which was actually my first wedding song. And then the other is the Troisième Guiminopède, which is an Eric Satie piece. And then throughout the entire thing, I recorded. So I was going through a divorce at the time of that, and I was just really exploring truth and what it meant to bear your soul and like to bear your body and your spirit. And so I also recorded like 7 minutes of myself, I just had like a wailing session of myself crying, and then so sort of blended all of this together. And so the act starts sort of behind this, what's meant to look like, when they like smear the cameras with like Vaseline back in the 70s, and they got all dreamy.
Yeah. The old school dreamy look, yeah.
Old school dreamy look, yeah. So it's that, and I do my first ever classic burlesque act behind that, and then the scrim drops, and there's a table and chairs, and I sit down, and there's 2 different versions of it. It sort of evolved from a 7-minute piece to a 20-minute piece, and I'm I've envisioned it again as this duration piece that would be 30 minutes, which, money, if anybody wants to do that. But, so then I sit down, and, we've had this classic burlesque strip, which is, meant to be very erotic and titillating and all this business. And then there's the vision of, every burlesque dancer or every artist, actor comes back to their dressing table, back to their home, wherever, and you become yourself again. You drop your character. So I strip out of my character, taking off all of the rest of my, performance garb, meaning my G-string, my earrings, my necklace, my lashes, and all of this stuff, sort of just really becoming me. And sitting with that, I'm usually, in the second piece, I drank wine and had some honey, feeling the sweetness and the acidity of a post-performance experience. And then, a lot of it delves into a lot of symbology and just stuff like that. So then next, I sit down, and I had lit 2 candles and sat in a spiritual manner with myself in this moment, and then I pulled a razor blade out of, I had bandaged my vagina because it was sort of to symbolize the wound of someone leaving me.
Okay.
And actually, so my ex-husband was the person who encouraged me to do burlesque.
Nice.
Yeah, he nice in a lot of ways, but he meant it as like, oh, you need to go find yourself kind of thing.
Oh.
Yeah, which was what kind of fucked up. We had a fucked up relationship. And so this piece, actually, I had written him a letter, and I had invited him to come see it. And I had a couple different endings depending upon whether or not he was there or not. And I didn't actually see him at the first performance.
Oh, but he was there.
But he was there.
Okay.
But so I went with the second route of things, which was to cut my heart open, because I felt there was sort of nothing left. So I'm going through the progression. I sit down, light a candle, I pour salt in one bowl, and then there's water in another bowl, sort of to symbolize the elements that you have, earth, fire, water, ether happening, moving in towards this sort of, again, more spiritual realm. And then I cut my hair and burnt it, and then I sort of did these sort of sacrifices for the art and for the spirit, and that to me is a way of stripping. You sort of just strip the soul, and then just did the cutting thing, which is interesting because I'm not a cutter, had never done that, and had no experience, and actually cut far too deeply into my body. I mean, I did some research, and I was like, okay, this is great. And, I was talking to my therapist about it. She was like, are you sure you want to do this? And I was like, yeah, I think it's fitting. It's an art piece I need to do. Yeah.
Good imagery. Yeah. But for the audio listeners, and if you have no chance to see the actual cut itself, it's a heart on top of her left side of the chest.
Yeah.
And technically, the heart is in the middle of your body, kids.
Come on.
But it's easier to be on your left side of the chest. But it's an actual traditional heart shape on her chest, and it's now have become a scar.
Yeah. So and technically, I have scarification, one could say.
But again, I when I first saw it, when we first shot, I always thought like, yeah, it must have been for an act. It definitely symbolic, but also it's like it looks good. So I'd be like, yeah, I just wanted like a cute heart that is not a tattoo on my body. So good. So that is a lot of depth and meaning and solemnity in the things that you do. It seems that every single facet of that act and all the acts that you do has a lot of thought in it, and that's the type of commitment, or at least just exploration, that I hope the listeners will be doing in their craft, be it balancing checkbooks, be it organizing calendars, photographing, and doing modeling. You need to do every element.
Yeah, I mean, the truth of it is, though, is being an artist is simply expressing your relationship to the world, right? So it's all of this like exploration and expression, and through that, the viewer or the experiencer, they call it art. It's like, no, in my opinion, a real artist is not like, oh, I'm going to make art. It's like, oh, I'm going to just live my life, and I'm going to figure out how I am in this world, and how we relate to one another, and how I relate to this table, and yes, how I do my calendar, how I take off my makeup at night. And it's all of that is just like, what is the meaning of that? What is the purpose of us being alive? And then that comes out in these beautiful expressions, and some people have a lot of technical skills to make things like films, or plays, or visual art, and then others who don't maybe have the training express it in other ways. And maybe it's the meal that you make for your loved one, or maybe it's the calendar that you're organizing for yourself. I think there's such a limiting way that we're like, oh, art, the four-letter ARTE. It's like, no, it's just
I love
living.
that, and we will definitely note that it's expressing your relationship to the world, and if other people consider it art, if they feel it, if they're changed by it, then it is art, and not expecting it to be so is not the real way for you to do your craft. And that's amazing, and I hope everybody gets to listen and feel and share
with
to
yourself.
Be
Literally,
with yourself.
be with yourself.
Be with yourself, and hopefully other people are changed for the better because of yourself. So, Ms. Melody Jane, thank you so much for your time and your energy and your light, and gracing me and my 6 listeners of this podcast. Of your
soon
amazing,
to be 6 million.
Soon to be 6 million when we get that Diva Cup money.
Yes, when we get that Diva Cup money.
Co-star in Diva Cup money, hit us up. So thank you very much. Before we leave, let everybody know where they can reach you if you want to be reached.
No, I totally want to be reached.
100%.
Hang out. So my website, which is in revamp, but it's meetmelodyjane.com. So that's MEET, like you're going to hang out and meet me.
Hey, not meat.
Because I'm not that into eating meat. But and then Melody Jane. Also, like, hit me up on Instagram. I am a pretty avid Instagrammer.
Yep.
And that's the Melody Jane. or at the Melody Jane. And otherwise, just meet me in what do they call it? IRL.
Make sure to check out her site and her Instagram so that you can be up to date if she does have upcoming shows and whatnot, and support most of the things that the people that I will be bringing on this podcast have amazing projects that I myself, somebody who's busy, somebody who has very, very limited time to go out there and enjoy live performances, would actually clear my schedule for. So,
you're so sweet. Well, and also another thing to say is if anybody, like, I'm a huge fan of collaboration. Like, this here for me is so important. So, if you've got an idea or you're like, I'm looking to do this thing, would you want to bounce ideas off of one another? I'm like, fuck yes.
Dope.
Let's grab tea.
All right. We opened the floodgates.
We did. And I'll solve all your problems.
Slide in your DMs. Slide in her DMs. We have like very
your
cool,
Diva cup.
very, very cool project. So thank you, Miss Melody Jane. Thank you, listener, for being with us. This is the Fun Shoot Podcast, and we will have new episodes dropping every Wednesday on all your favorite podcasting apps. For those listening through iTunes and Apple Podcast, we would love to have you subscribe, rate the show, review it, leave a comment here and there, and it will greatly help the future of the podcast. You can visit the Fun Shoot Podcast at bit.ly/funshoot or www.jongclemente.com/funshoot. And follow and comment on the pod Twitter and Instagrams at the Fun Shoot, at Fun Shoot Podcast. Send us your comments and questions at funshootpodcast@gmail.com. And again, we have a voicemail. Call it, leave a message. We'll put it on the show if it's appropriate. If it's not, I'll just keep it for myself. It's at 347-934-9594. Thank you very much, and I hope you connect with all the other light shapers and image makers around your area. Bye!